Valorian Dominion had ruled the stars for 10,000 years. Their empire stretched across 12 star systems. They had crushed hundreds of species under their boots. They had never known defeat. They had never known fear. Archon Selveth sat on his throne aboard the flagship Eternal Conquest. He was tall, with pale blue skin and 4 eyes that glowed like dying stars. His species had evolved as apex predators on a frozen world. They believed the universe belonged to the strong, and no one was stronger than the Valorians. Today, they would add another world to their collection. The human colony of New Meridian floated in the view screen before him. It was a small world, green and blue, home to only 60,000 humans. Selveth had studied this species briefly. They were soft creatures. They came from a temperate planet. They had only been traveling among the stars for 300 years. They were nothing. "Open a channel," Selveth commanded. His communications officer obeyed. A moment later, a human face appeared on screen. She was old by their standards, with gray hair and lines on her face. She wore a simple uniform. Her name was Elena Vasquez, and she was the governor of this tiny colony. Selveth did not bother to hide his contempt. "Human," he said, "I am Archon Selveth of the Valorian Dominion. Your world now belongs to us. You will surrender immediately. Your people will serve the Dominion." This is not a request. He expected fear. He expected begging. He expected the quick surrender that every other species had offered. Instead, the old woman looked at him with calm eyes. She did not tremble. She did not look away. "Archon Selveth," she said, her voice steady, "I am Governor Elena Vasquez of New Meridian. You are in human space without permission. You have 24 hours to turn your ships around and leave. This is your only warning." Selveth stared at her. For a moment, he could not understand what was happening. No one had ever spoken to him this way. No one had ever refused the Dominion. Then he laughed. The sound echoed through the bridge, cold and cruel. "You threaten me?" he said. "You are 60,000 souls on a rock in the middle of nowhere. I have 500 warships. I have weapons that can turn your world to glass. And you threaten me?" Governor Vasquez did not smile. She did not flinch. "I am giving you a chance," she said. "I suggest you take it. You do not want humanity as your enemy." Selveth cut the transmission. He turned to his weapons officer. "Destroy their orbital stations," he ordered. "Then begin bombardment of population centers. Make sure to record everything. The galaxy will see what happens to those who defy the Dominion." The weapons officer hesitated for just a moment. "Archon, there are civilian ships trying to leave. Refugee transports. Should we let them go?" Selveth's 4 eyes narrowed. "Destroy them all. Leave no witnesses. I want the humans to know that there is no escape from us." The order was given. The weapons fired. New Meridian burned. The orbital stations exploded first, breaking apart like toys. Then the beams reached the surface. They hit the capital city. They hit the farmlands. They hit the schools and hospitals. They hit 3 refugee ships that were trying to flee, killing every man, woman, and child aboard. 60,000 humans died in less than an hour. Selveth watched it all with satisfaction. He ordered his officers to broadcast the recording to every corner of the galaxy. Let all species see the price of defiance. Let them know that the Dominion was absolute. He did not notice the single transmission that escaped before the communication satellites were destroyed. He did not know that Governor Vasquez had stayed at her post until the very end, sending one final message to Earth. The message was simple. It contained the recording of Selveth's demands. It contained footage of the bombardment. It contained the names of every person who had died. And it contained her final words, spoken as fire rained from the sky. "Remember us. and make them pay. The message traveled across the stars at faster than light speeds. It reached Earth in 3 days. Within hours, it had spread to every human colony, every human ship, every human outpost in the galaxy. Billions of humans watched their people die. They watched the Valorian Archon laugh. They watched children running from fire that fell from the sky. They watched refugee ships explode, carrying families who had only wanted to escape. And something changed. Humanity had always been divided. Nations still competed with each other. Corporations fought for resources. Old grudges ran deep. For 300 years of space travel, humans had carried their conflicts with them to the stars. But now, in the silence that followed the recording, all of that stopped. Old enemies reached out to each other. Political opponents shook hands. Resources that had been hoarded were freely shared. Factories that had been idle roared back to life. Scientists who had been rivals began working together. It happened without orders, without commands, without anyone telling them what to do. It happened because every human who watched that recording felt the same thing in their heart: rage. Pure, burning, unstoppable rage. The United Earth Council called an emergency session. Representatives from every human faction attended. For the first time in history, there was no arguing, no debate, no disagreement. They voted unanimously. The decision was broadcast to the entire galaxy. It was sent directly to the Valorian Dominion. It was carved into the hulls of warships that were already being built. The message was short: to the Valorian Dominion and all who serve it. You have killed our people. You have burned our world. You have murdered our children. We are humanity. We do not forget. We do not forgive. You have made enemies of the one species no empire can face without fear. Congratulations. We are coming for you. Archon Selveth received the message aboard his flagship. He read it twice, then deleted it. Brave words from a weak species, he said to his officers. They will learn their place soon enough. He did not understand what he had done. He did not know the nature of the beast he had awakened. He did not know that humans were not like other species. He did not know about their history, their stubbornness, their refusal to ever give up. He did not know that he had just started a war that would cost him everything, but he would learn. They all would. Ambassador Kethril had spent 40 years studying humans. He was a member of the Neutral Concord, an organization that did not take sides in galactic conflicts. His job was to understand species, to learn how they thought, to predict what they would do. He had studied the Valorians. He had studied the Montari Collective. He had studied 100 different species across the galaxy, but humans terrified him. When he heard about the attack on New Meridian, he immediately requested an audience with the Valorian High Council. They granted it, mostly out of curiosity. The Neutral Concord was respected throughout the galaxy. Their warnings carried weight. Kethril stood before the High Council in their great chamber on Valoria Prime. Archon Selveth sat at the center, surrounded by his advisors and generals. They all looked at the small, gray-skinned ambassador with amusement. You wish to speak with us, Ambassador? Selveth said. Speak. Kethril took a deep breath. His four hands trembled slightly. Archon, I have come to warn you. You have made a terrible mistake. The humans are not like other species. You cannot defeat them with the methods you have used before. Selveth raised one eyebrow. We have 500 warships. They have perhaps 50. Their technology is inferior to ours. Their population is smaller. What exactly should we fear? Everything, Kethril said. You should fear everything about them. The council members laughed. But Kethril continued. Let me tell you about humans, Archon. Let me tell you what I have learned in 40 years of study. He activated a holographic display. Images appeared in the air, showing Earth, showing humans, showing their history. Humans evolved on a world called Earth. It is a death world. Everything there is trying to kill everything else. The weather is extreme. The predators are deadly. The diseases are countless. Most species on Earth go extinct. But humans survived. They survived for millions of years. He changed the image. It showed early humans chasing an animal across a vast plain. Do you know how their ancestors hunted? They did not have claws. They did not have fangs. They did not have venom. So they invented something else. They call it persistence hunting. They would chase an animal across the land. The animal would run faster, so it would have to stop and rest. But the humans never stopped. They kept walking. Hour after hour, day after day. They would chase an animal until its heart gave out from exhaustion. They would walk their prey to death. The council was silent now. Kethril continued. They are not fast. They are not strong. But they do not stop. Ever. They heal from injuries that would kill other species. They can survive in almost any environment. They eat almost anything. They need very little sleep. Their bodies are designed for one thing, to keep going when everything else has given up. He changed the image again. This time it showed human wars, battles, explosions, destruction. Now let me tell you about their history. For their entire existence, humans have been at war with each other. They fight constantly. They have developed weapons that can destroy entire cities in seconds. They have fought wars that killed millions of their own kind. And after every war, no matter how terrible, they rebuild. They come back stronger. They learn from their mistakes. They never give up. Archon Selveth shifted in his seat. All species fight, he said. The Dominion has fought many wars. You fight to win, Kethril said. Humans fight to destroy. There's a difference. He pulled up another image. Let me tell you about a concept that humans have. They call it spite. It is an emotion that has no equivalent in your language or in mine. It is the desire to hurt someone else, even if it hurts yourself more. A human will burn down their own house just to kill a single enemy inside. They will sacrifice everything they have just to make sure their enemy loses too. He looked directly at Selveth. You killed 60,000 of them. You killed their children. You broadcast it to the galaxy. You did not just attack them. You made it personal. And what do you think they will do? Selveth asked. They will come for you, Kethril said. Not to win. Not to gain territory. Not for resources or power. They will come for revenge. And they will not stop until they have it, or until every last one of them is dead. There is no surrender with humans once you have crossed this line. There is no negotiation. There is only war. He changed the image one final time. It showed a human woman holding a child. A human man standing with his family. Humans laughing together, crying together, holding each other. And this is the most dangerous thing about them, Kethril said. They bond. They bond with each other. They bond with animals. They bond with machines. They even bond with their enemies sometimes. And when you hurt something they have bonded with, something they love, they become something else entirely. They call it many things. Justice, revenge, love. But what it really is, Archon, is madness. Beautiful, terrible madness. Selveth laughed. You speak of them as if they are monsters. No, Kethril said. Monsters can be understood. Monsters follow rules. Humans do not. They are chaos wrapped in flesh. They are the universe's greatest survivors and its greatest killers. And you just gave them a reason to prove it. Selveth stood up from his throne. Enough. I have heard enough of this nonsense. The humans are soft creatures from a soft world. They will attack us, and they will fail. And when they fail, we will destroy the rest of them. That is how the universe works. The strong survive. The weak die. Nothing you have said changes this. Catherall bowed his head. I have delivered my warning, Archon. I hope for the sake of your people that I am wrong. He turned and walked out of the chamber. Behind him, the High Council returned to their business, already forgetting his words. 3 months later, the first Valorian supply convoy was destroyed. It was attacked by a single human ship, a small cruiser with a crew of 20. The ship had traveled for 4 months through empty space, far from any trade routes, to reach the convoy. The crew had survived on recycled air and minimal food. They had no backup, no rescue plan, no way home. They destroyed 11 Dominion vessels before their weapons ran dry. Then they rammed their ship into the convoy's flagship, killing everyone aboard, including themselves. When Valorian rescue ships arrived, they found the wreckage. They found the human bodies floating in space. And they found something strange. The humans were smiling. Every single one of them had died with a smile on their face. The report reached Archon Selva's desk the next day. For the first time, he felt something cold in his stomach. He did not know it yet, but it was fear. The Valorian Dominion had expected the war to last 6 months. They had superior numbers, superior technology, and 10,000 years of military experience. The humans were young and weak and few. Victory was certain. 2 years later, the war was still going, and the Dominion was losing. Admiral Yevanar sat in his command center, staring at the tactical display. Red lights marked destroyed Valorian vessels. There were too many of them. Far too many. Report, he said to his officers. The supply lines to Sector 7 are gone, his logistics officer said. Human raiders destroyed the convoy yesterday. We lost 32 ships. Our ground forces on Kelith 4 have been overrun, his ground commander added. The humans held their positions for 16 days without food or reinforcements. When we finally broke through their lines, they detonated explosives they had hidden in the tunnels. They buried themselves along with 2,000 of our soldiers. Yevanar closed his 4 eyes. This was not how war was supposed to work. When a force was outnumbered and outgunned, they were supposed to surrender. They were supposed to negotiate. They were supposed to calculate their losses and realize that victory was impossible. Humans did none of these things. They fought when they could not win. They died when they could not fight. And they never, ever stopped coming. The door opened and General Vex entered. He was the Dominion's greatest strategist, the hero of 100 campaigns. But now his face was gray and tired. He had not slept in days. Admiral, he said, we have a problem. Another one? A large one. Vex activated a hologram. It showed a human factory complex on one of their colony worlds. 6 months ago, this facility produced civilian goods, food processors, communication devices, entertainment systems. He changed the image. Today, it produces warships, weapons, military equipment. They converted the entire facility in less than a month. Yevanar leaned forward. How is that possible? It should not be possible. But the humans do not seem to care about what is possible. They have converted every factory in their territory to military production. Every citizen is working for the war effort. They have no economy anymore. They have no leisure. They have only war. They will burn themselves out, Yevanar said. No species can sustain that level of effort for long. That is what I thought too, Vex said. But I was wrong. They are not slowing down. They are speeding up. Every month, they produce more ships than the month before. Every month, their weapons become more deadly. They have captured our technology and learned to copy it. In some cases, they have improved it. He changed the image again. This time, it showed a human warship, unlike any they had seen before. This is their new heavy cruiser. They call it the Remembrance class. It carries weapons that we have never seen before. Our intelligence suggests they invented these weapons in the last 3 months. 3 months, Admiral. It took us 50 years to develop our plasma cannons. They built something better in 90 days. Yevanar stared at the image. What kind of species can do this? A desperate one, Dex said. A species that has decided that winning is more important than surviving. They are not fighting a war, Admiral. Merle, they are waging extinction. Theirs or ours. The door opened again. A communications officer rushed in, her face pale with fear. Admiral, you need to see this. The humans are broadcasting something. It is being sent to every ship in the sector. She activated the main screen. At first, there was only static. Then music began to play. It was unlike anything the Valorians had ever heard. Heavy, pounding rhythms. Screaming voices. Instruments that sounded like machines in pain. The sound was ugly and violent and somehow terrifying. Then came the voice. It was calm and cold. This message is for the officers and crew of the Valorian Dominion. We know your names. We know your ranks. We know where your families live. Admiral Yevanar of the 3rd Fleet, your home is on Valoria Prime in the Northern District. Your daughter's name is Selvia. She attends the Academy of Sciences. General Dex, your father is retired and lives in the Southern Mountains. He gardens on the weekends. The music stopped. Silence filled the command center. We are not coming for your worlds, the voice continued. We are not coming for your resources. We are coming for you. Every officer who serves the Dominion. Every soldier who fired on our people. Every commander who gave the orders. We know who you are, and we will find you. Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually, inevitably. We are patient. We are persistent. And we never forget. The transmission ended. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Yevanar noticed something. His communications officer was shaking. His tactical officer was staring at nothing. General Dex had sat down heavily, his face in his hands. Fear. The Dominion's finest officers were feeling fear. Over the following months, things got worse. Soldiers began to desert. Officers requested transfers to posts far from the front lines. Some commanders refused to lead attacks against human positions. They had heard the stories. Stories of human pilots ramming their ships into Valorian vessels when their weapons failed. Stories of human soldiers fighting for hours with broken limbs. Stories of human prisoners who laughed when they were tortured, who promised that their deaths would only bring more humans to take their place. The humans had a word for this. They called it psychological warfare. They did not just fight bodies. They fought minds. Admiral Yevanar made a recording one night, alone in his quarters. He spoke to no one in particular. Perhaps he was speaking to history. I have fought many species, he said. I have won many wars, but I have never faced anything like this. The humans do not want victory. They want revenge. And there is no weapon in our arsenal that can defeat revenge. You cannot negotiate with it. You cannot frighten it. You cannot kill it. It just keeps coming. He paused, looking out at the stars. We made a mistake. We thought they were weak because they were soft. We thought they were cowards because they loved their families. We thought they would break because they felt pain. But we were wrong. Their softness makes them hard. Their love makes them dangerous. Their pain makes them unstoppable. He reached for the recording device. I do not think we can win this war. I think we woke something that should have been left sleeping. And now it is coming for us all. He ended the recording. 3 days later, Admiral Yevanar was found dead in his quarters. He had taken his own life. The note he left behind contained only 4 words. They will never stop. 4 years after the attack on New Meridian, the human fleet arrived at Valoria Prime. Commander Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of the UHS Remembrance, the flagship of the human armada. She was 63 years old. Her hair was gray. Her face was lined with scars from battles she had fought across the galaxy. Her left arm was mechanical, a replacement for the one she had lost at the Battle of Keleth, IV. She had been a teacher once. She had taught history to children on New Meridian. Her daughter, Emily, had been one of her students. Emily had been 12 years old when the Valorians came. She had been at school when the bombs fell. Sarah had watched the recording of New Meridian's destruction 1,000 times. She had memorized every face, every name, every life that was lost. The names were inscribed on the hull of her ship, 60,000 of them, written in letters 10 feet tall. She had spent 4 years fighting her way across the galaxy. She had lost friends. She had lost ships. She had lost pieces of herself, both physical and otherwise. But she had never lost sight of why she was fighting. Today, it would end. "Commander," her tactical officer reported, "we have visual on Valoria Prime." The view screen changed. Sarah saw the Valorian homeworld for the first time. It was beautiful in its way. A pale blue planet with white clouds and silver oceans. It looked peaceful. It looked innocent. It was protected by the greatest defensive system ever built. Orbital platforms bristling with weapons. Planetary shields that could stop almost anything. 1,000 warships arranged in perfect formation, ready to defend their home to the last soldier. Sarah had brought 1,200 ships. She had brought every weapon humanity could build. She had brought every soldier who had volunteered for what everyone knew might be a suicide mission. "All ships report ready," her communications officer said. "They are waiting for your order, Commander." Sarah looked at the planet on the screen. Somewhere down there, Arkan Selveth was hiding. The creature who had killed her daughter. The creature who had started this war. The creature who had taught humanity what it was capable of. "Open a channel," she said. "All frequencies. I want everyone to hear this." The channel opened. Sarah spoke, her voice calm and steady. "People of Valoria, soldiers of the Dominion, this is Commander Sarah Chun of the United Human Fleet. 4 years ago, your leaders destroyed our colony of New Meridian. They killed 60,000 innocent people. They broadcast their deaths as entertainment. They thought we would break. They were wrong." She paused. "Today, we have come to your homeworld. We have come with weapons that can turn your planet to ash. We have the power to kill every single one of you. We have earned that right with our blood and our suffering." The Valorian ships began to move, preparing for battle. Sarah continued, "But we have not come for genocide. We have not come for revenge against your civilians. We have come for justice. We have come for the ones responsible. Surrender Arkan Selveth and the members of the High Council who ordered the attack on New Meridian. Do this, and your people will live. Refuse, and we will come through your defenses and take them ourselves." There was silence. Then a Valorian voice responded. "This is Admiral Kethfer of the Home Fleet. We will never surrender to human scum. Come and die, if you dare." Sarah nodded slowly. She had expected this answer. "Then we come." The battle began. Human ships surged forward in waves. Valorian weapons fired, filling space with light and death. Ships exploded on both sides. Bodies tumbled through the void. The darkness was lit by the fire of 1,000 explosions. The Valorian defenses were strong. For every human ship that broke through, 3 were destroyed. But the humans kept coming, wave after wave, ship after ship. They did not retreat. They did not hesitate. Human pilots rammed their vessels into orbital platforms when their weapons failed. Human soldiers boarded Valorian ships and fought hand-to-hand in the corridors. Human crews stayed at their posts even as their ships burned around them, firing until the very end. The battle lasted 16 hours. When it was over, the Valorian home fleet was destroyed. The orbital platforms were burning. The planetary shields had fallen. Valoria Prime lay defenseless. The human fleet had lost over 400 ships. Thousands of soldiers were dead. The survivors were exhausted, wounded, running on nothing but willpower. But they had won. "Commander," the tactical officer said, "we have control of orbit. The planet is open. What are your orders?" Sarah looked at the view screen. She could destroy them all. One order, and Valoria Prime would burn just like New Meridian had burned. Eye for an eye. Death for death. It was what the Valorians deserved. It was what every human in the fleet wanted. "Launch the landing craft," Sarah said. "Ground forces to the capital city. Target: the High Council chambers. We are going to arrest Archon Selveth and put him on trial for his crimes." Her officers stared at her. One of them spoke up. "Commander, with respect, why? After everything they did, why did they get a trial? Why did they get mercy?" Sarah turned to face him. Her eyes were hard, but her voice was soft. "Because that is what makes us different from them. Because my daughter would not want me to become a monster. Because if we burn their world, we are no better than they are. We came here for justice, not revenge. There is a difference." She turned back to the view screen. "Land the troops." The landing craft descended through the atmosphere. Human soldiers marched through the streets of the Valorian capital. Millions of Valorians watched from their windows, waiting for the killing to begin. But the humans walked past them without a glance. They did not shoot. They did not burn. They simply marched, silent and focused, toward a single destination. They found Archon Selveth in a bunker beneath the High Council chambers. He was hiding behind his guards, surrounded by the members of the council who had ordered the attack on New Meridian. Sarah Chun walked into the bunker herself. She stood before the creature who had killed her daughter. Selveth looked at her with his 4 eyes. He was afraid. She could see. For the first time in his long life, he was truly afraid. "You killed our children," Sarah said. "You burned our homes. You thought we would break." She leaned close to him. "We are humanity. We walked out of extinction 7 times before we ever reached the stars. We have earned our survival. And now you will learn what every predator on our world learned before you. We are not prey." She stepped back. "Archon Selveth, you are under arrest for crimes against humanity. You will stand trial. You will face justice. And the galaxy will watch." Selveth found his voice. "You could kill me now. Why don't you?" Sarah smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Because death is too easy. I want you to live. I want you to watch your empire fall. I want you to see everything you built crumble to dust. I want you to spend the rest of your life knowing that you lost to the species you called weak." She turned to her soldiers. "Take him." The trial of Archon Selveth lasted 3 months. It was broadcast to every corner of the galaxy. Billions of beings and thousands of worlds watched as the once mighty ruler of the Valorian Dominion sat in chains before a human court. The evidence was overwhelming. Recordings of the attack on New Meridian. Orders signed in Selveth's own hand. Testimony from survivors who had lost everything. The faces of 60,000 dead, shown one by one. Their names read aloud until it took an entire day to finish. Selveth tried to defend himself. He spoke of the right of the strong to rule the weak. He spoke of the natural order of the universe. He spoke of how humans were inferior, how they should have accepted their place, how everything that happened was their own fault for resisting. The judges listened in silence. When he finished, the lead judge, a human woman named Justice Amara Okonkwo, spoke. Arkan Selveth, you speak of the right of the strong, but you are not strong. You were never strong. Strength is not measured by how many you can kill. Strength is measured by what you can endure, by what you can lose and still keep fighting, by what you can suffer and still choose mercy. She looked at him with calm eyes. You attacked a peaceful colony. You murdered children. You broadcast their deaths for entertainment. And when we came for justice, you hid in a bunker while your soldiers died for you. There is nothing strong about you. There never was. Selveth was found guilty on all charges. He was sentenced to life in prison, to be held on a human world, watching as everything he had built was taken apart piece by piece. He lived for another 30 years. He never spoke again. The Valorian Dominion was dismantled. Not destroyed, but carefully, methodically taken apart. Humans did not glass their worlds or enslave their people. They demanded reparations. They demanded reforms. They demanded that the Valorians rebuild what they had destroyed. Some species expected humanity to become the new empire. They waited for the humans to conquer, to enslave, to do what every powerful species had always done. But humanity did something unexpected. They went home. The human ambassador addressed the Galactic Assembly 1 year after the war ended. Her name was Dr. Maya Singh, and she had been a refugee from New Meridian. She had watched her home burn from the window of an escape pod. She had spent 4 years working in human intelligence, helping to plan the strategies that had won the war. Now she stood before representatives of 1,000 species. And she spoke. You watched what we did to the Valorian Dominion. You saw our fury. You saw our persistence. You saw what happens when humanity is pushed too far. She paused. And many of you are afraid of us now. I understand that. We showed the galaxy something terrible about ourselves. We showed you the darkness that lives inside us, the capacity for violence that we carry in our blood. She looked around the chamber. But we also showed you something else. We showed you restraint. We could have burned Valoria Prime. We had the power and the right. But we chose not to. We chose justice over revenge. We chose to be better than our enemies. She took a deep breath. Humanity is not your enemy. We never wanted this war. We never wanted to show the galaxy what we are capable of. But we will not apologize for defending ourselves. We will not apologize for coming for justice. And we will not apologize for winning. Her voice hardened. Let this be a lesson to the galaxy. We are humanity. We do not start wars, but we finish them. We do not seek conflict, but we do not run from it. We are slow to anger and quick to forgive. But if you harm what we love, if you hurt our families, if you kill our children, you will face something that no empire, no matter how powerful, can defeat. She pointed to the human delegation behind her. We are teachers and farmers and doctors and artists. We are parents and children and friends and lovers. We laugh and cry and dream and hope, just like you. But we are also survivors. We are the children of a world that tried to kill us every day for 1,000,000 years. We are the descendants of those who refused to die. And that is what makes us dangerous. She turned back to the assembly. Do not threaten us. Do not attack us. Do not harm what we love. And we will be the best friends you could ever have. We will trade with you. We will share with you. We will help you when you need help. We will be your allies in peace and your partners in prosperity. She smiled, but her eyes remained hard. But do not test us. Not ever. The assembly was silent. In the years that followed, humanity kept its word. They traded fairly. They helped species in need. They shared their technology and their art and their strange, wonderful culture. They made friends across the galaxy. They became known as a generous people, a kind people, a people who would help strangers without asking for anything in return. But the galaxy never forgot what they had seen. The story spread from world to world, from generation to generation. The story of the war. The story of humanity's fury. The story of 60,000 names inscribed on the hull of a warship. Ambassador Kethrile of the Neutral Concord lived for another century after the war. In his final report on humanity, he wrote, "They are everything I warned the Dominion they would be. They are vengeful, persistent, and impossibly resilient. They will chase you across the stars. They will endure suffering that would break any other species. They will never stop, never give up, never forget." He paused in his writing, thinking of the humans he had come to know over the years. The laughter, the music, the way they cared for each other, for strangers, for creatures they had never met. But they are also kind. They are generous. They adopt the abandoned. They protect the weak. They make friends of their enemies. They have a word for this, humanity. It means both their species and their capacity for kindness. They believe the two are the same thing. He finished his report with these words: "Do not mistake their mercy for weakness. Do not mistake their kindness for softness. Do not mistake their love for vulnerability. For their love is also their fury. Their kindness is also their rage. Their mercy is also their warning. They are humanity. They are the one species no empire can face without fear. And the galaxy will never forget what happens to those who cross them." The report was filed away in the archives of the Neutral Concord. It was read by diplomats and soldiers and leaders across the galaxy. It became required reading at military academies. It was translated into 1,000 languages. And on New Meridian, rebuilt from the ashes, a new memorial stood in the center of the capital. It was a simple thing, a wall of black stone with 60,000 names carved into its surface. At the top of the wall, there were words written in the human language. We remember. We endure. We are humanity. Every year, on the anniversary of the attack, people came from across the galaxy to stand before the wall. Humans came to remember their dead. Other species came to pay their respects, and perhaps to remind themselves of what they had learned. The lesson was simple. Do not harm what humanity loves. They never forget, and they always come back.